Hi, this is Bjorn from Skeino. Our subject today for this little episode we will show later is binding off. And it's so important to do it right, and you probably know it. And there are some little tricks and I want to share with you. But before I go to my table and grab the knitting needles, I will show you some samples how to do and how not to do. So see you in a little while. Our 2-yarn scarf definitely needs a little help. You can see how the bind off line really curves and gives the scarf on that side a way too short length. So this needs to be taken apart, and I will do 20 stitches, measure and compare this with 20 stitches from the cast on, and then I will know I have to switch the needles or I have to do another little trick, which one I will show you later. So our 2-yarn scarf needs help, and I think you agree. This is our lengthwise scarf with 6 different yarns, or sometimes we have a wrap also with 12 different yarns, and it's knitted the long way, and cast on and bind off have the same length. It's a pleasure to see this, and it drapes nicely and it doesn't curve, so spend some time to find out if your bind off has the same length as the cast on. This is one very good example. It is our Get Well wrap, which one has a perfect lined up, cast on and bind off line. Both are the same length, and there's never a problem when you wear it that it will curve. For this little episode I brought a few scarves to show you what to do and what not to do, because nothing is worse than the bind off is too short or too long or just doesn't work with the piece. And as I showed you before in the introduction, you could see the scarves hanging on a hanger, and some are really perfect, bind off and cast on the same length. And the one baby, which one is not finished and I have to bind off again. I just did it on purpose to show you how you can do it wrong. So let's go little by little. This is the one, you see still the ends here, which one has a nice loose cast on, but the bind off just doesn't work. You see I can stretch the behind there and it doesn't work. In our pattern, I always give the suggestion, bind off 20 stitches. Measure the 20 stitches and measure 20 stitches on your cast on. And it should be the same length. This one, you see, I can pull. This one doesn't give me anything. So this is a bad baby, and it needs to be taken off and has to be done again. The other scarf, the Get Well shawl here or wrap, is perfectly fine. The bind off is very loose, and the knitter used a larger needle to do it, so this is really perfectly fine, and it stretches both the same way, so that's a good one. And quite a bit of our products are using just garter stitch and using multiple yarns in one repeat. So here are 12 yarns being used in 3 rows, and it's so important that the bind off is really stretchy, really loose. And you see this gives me the length I want to, and this is the same than the cast on. So really use the time to measure, let's say 20 stitches, and you have to take it off if it doesn't work. So this was a good one. And here is one in progress. So I can stretch this nicely, so when I bind off I have to really do my homework that this will be right. here is another scarf, which one is slightly too short. It just makes a bow here. It just, you see, it is so, the fabric here is so open, and this is just too tight. And if a shawl is being worn like this, it could be that the bind off edge here falls apart, and we don't want to do it. As you know, you can go one needle size up, eventually two needle sizes up. There are many options out there to do so, but I want to show you another option to how to do a good bind off with a little trick. My little sample here, I started binding off already, and you see here on the end, this is very, very, very long. So it's, my understanding is this is way too loose cast on, but we have it this way, so now we have to bind off the same way. And what you can do is, I started this here already, what you can do is do a little trick here to make it longer without changing the needle size up. So I'm knitting the back leg, leave the stitch on the needle, bind off, and knit the front leg and bind off. So there are actually 2 stitches out of 1. It works pretty good. It gives a little nice nutty edge. So the back leg, and put the stitch back on the needle, and the front leg. So the 2 stitches out of 1, and you don't have to change the needle. So stitch back, or just leave it on there. So it's pretty simple. I will stretch it out and show you how it looks like. There we go. So this makes, it has little nuts here, but it looks really cute and fits nicely in with the garter stitch here. So, and it gives me a tight edge, but it springs nicely and will probably fit to my bind, to my cast on here. So I like this a lot, to have something really loose. Of course, it could be you need to have the opposite. Means maybe around binding off around a neckline, and you want to have it really tight. So you go just the normal way, stitch by stitch, or even what you also can do, you can do knit 2 together and bind off. Then you're reducing the stitches, and it is a nice tight edge, so it's maybe a sweater or a little top is not falling from your shoulders. So these are some little tricks you can do, just binding off. So that's pretty important. So let's see how it looks like. So this is now the opposite. You see it's holding this nicely together. So here is this way too tight, and here's nice and loose. So when you bind off the next time, try different styles, change the needle, but it should be satisfaction, the whole thing. And I hope you learned a little bit today. It was not much at a subject, but the questions we receive from our knitters, they ask me, how do I bind off and not having such a short distance, or the distance is different from the cast on to the bind off. Thank you for watching.